happiness while expressing your own story of success. Now I request our alumni, Mr. Kishore, to get an immense happiness by sharing his success story. Let's give a round of applause to our alumni sir.
Can I be audible on the back row? So I'm very excited to be here. I knew this day would come. It was just something that I visualized when I was like sitting in the back bench. I'm a backbencher, so I always used to be there and imagine like what if a terrorist came and how would I fight him and save all you people. And this was a part of my imagination. I just didn't know how this was going to happen. Like that's how boys in general think. We all imagine ourselves to be larger than life, heroes, where we get invited as a guest lecturer in the very same college that we studied in. So when I received a call from her, I was extremely happy and I just wanted to come here for all you guys because I feel in a lot of ways, right from LKG to your 12th grade and then college, we have numerous number of classes which talks about how to attend an interview, how to get a job, how to impress your boss, how to impress your HR. But there has never been a person who comes in and talks about entrepreneurship, how to become your own boss, how to handle a company, how to start a company. So I felt this was very important. This is something that I used to long for when I was in your place. So I belong to the second batch of BCom. The first batch was initiated in 2014. I belong to the 2015 batch. So back then, these kind of facilities were not there. I just joined SRM with a lot of hopes, and once I came here, I thought this would be like KTR, Katangalathur, but this was completely the opposite of it. So whatever that you're living right now is my dream, right? And whatever that is your dream, somebody else will be living it 5-6 years from now. So I have made this as generalized as possible. I hope all of you got my message through WhatsApp. Did the HOD send you? No? Unclear, huh? So I sent a message, I asked her to share it with the students. I said, no matter what your dreams and goals are, like some of you want to become an entrepreneur, some of you want to become a solopreneur or a freelancer or an interior designer, whatever your dreams and goals are, because I don't believe I'm standing in front of a group of future accountants, future CAs, whatever that BCom has to offer you, right? I truly believe I'm standing in front of somebody who wants to become a YouTuber, who wants to become a singer, who wants to become an interior designer, who wants to become something out of BCom. I truly believe in that. All of you are not talented in the same way. Everyone has different talents. Everyone is very unique to themselves. So this is going to be as generalized as possible. No, doesn't matter what your dream is. So doesn't matter what your financial background is, where you come from, whether you belong to upper middle class, it doesn't matter. This is going to be useful for every one of you. So whatever questions you have, we'll do a Q&A session in the end. So I want you to be with me for the next 45 minutes because this is going to be very valuable than most of the classes that you take part of, whatever the teachers teach you about. So just be with me, concentrate. I will guarantee you by the end of this keynote, you would have gotten a lot of valuable information, tricks and tips to how to pursue your goals. So let's get started without any further ado. And the whole thing is going to be documented and put on YouTube as well, so you can review it. So don't worry about missing out on something or taking notes or anything of that sort. So I have split it into 4 parts. So the first part is know what you want and know it is okay not to know what you want. Like, let me say it again. Please be very precise with what you want. Be sure of what you want and please understand, please accept it is absolutely okay to not know what you want. There are a lot of people here who knows this is what I exactly want to be. But then there are people who'd be like, Kishore, I don't even know what's my passion. I don't even know what I'm interested in. I want to be successful, but I don't know what is it that I'm going to do, right? No, it's okay. Please understand that's absolutely fine. Your parents and teachers will tell you that you have to figure out everything by the time you're 19, 20. How old are you guys? 19, 20? 18 to 20, somewhere between that range. Yeah. So that's what they've been telling you. They'll constantly tell you to figure out everything by yourself, that you should know this and that. So when I was in BCom, I started my journey as a solopreneur when I was 18. Back then I used to drop ship from this website called as Alibaba Express. It was owned by Jack Ma. It was the Chinese version of Amazon. They banned it in India now, it doesn't exist anymore. So I used to sell sneakers, sunglasses, anything that I got on my hands, right? For me back then business meant buying something for 10 bucks and selling it for 12. So that I used to do. I started doing it from the second semester of the first year of my college, and that's what I was doing. because I don't come from a very rich background, or I don't have any sort of ancestral wealth where I can go and start a company. I come from a lower middle class background. I was raised by a single mother. So there was not a lot of money that I was going to have in my hand by the time I was going to graduate from BCom, right? And I would never take a job. I've never applied for a job. I've never taken up a job. I've never interned anywhere. All the things that I did was through experimentation and learning, and just through pure curiosity. So today I own a company called ChairsCarté. We manufacture chairs which are supplied for IT parks, BPOs, call centers, restaurants, and also make sofas, couches, recliners, and all these sort of things. My second company is called INDE by ChairsCarté, which offers interior design solutions for your residence, right? Like the TV panel, wardrobe, modular kitchen, and all that. And then for offices, and then also for commercial spaces like supermarkets, restaurants, etc., theaters, etc. So these are the two companies that I own. This was my fourth and fifth startup. I have failed in 2 startups and I've discontinued 1 startup. So that was my journey. But standing here, boasting about myself and flaunting about what I have done in my life, instead of doing that, let me give you an idea of how you can pursue your goals no matter what it is, right? So that is very important, knowing what you want to do. If you do not know what you want to do, it's fine. That's where step 2 comes in. That is the power of experimentation and curiosity. So once you have known what you want to do, there will be people who are very hybrids of it, right? Like, you know what you want to do, but you do not know how to get there. There are a lot of people like this. So what is your dream? 10 years from now, what is your dream going to be? Is it buying a Ferrari? Is it having certain amount of money in your bank account? Is it going on the streets and 10 people come and take a selfie with you? What is your dream? Some people might know, I want to be rich in 10 years, but I do not know what exactly that I'm going to take up in order to become rich, right? That was the exact scenario I had as well. I knew I was going to become a businessman. I knew I was going to get a call from my college someday inviting me as a guest lecturer, but I didn't know what reason is it they're going to invite me for. What is it that I'm going to accomplish so that my college calls me, invites me to give me a guest lecture? What is it? I didn't know that answer. So it's absolutely fine. Some people might know what you want, but you do not know how to get there. That is where this power of curiosity and experimentation comes into place. Now, once you have known what you want, become curious about it. Let's say, for example, I'm not going to go into the traditional, I want to become a manager, I want to become a CA, I want to become an accountant and all that. Let's say you want to become a YouTuber. Take the top YouTubers and see where they are now and where they started. Reverse engineer it. Do a case study. What are the things that they did to be where they are today, right? It could be about any profession, not just YouTubing. It could be about being a singer or a graphic designer. Take the top level people. Where do they come from? What do they do? Become curious. The next time you get a chance to ask a YouTuber a question or an entrepreneur a question, ask questions which are very curious to you, which are very inquisitive, which intrigues you. Like, why did you become an entrepreneur? What are the challenges you're facing as a YouTuber? Ask these sort of questions. That is where curiosity comes into place. So when I was 15, 16, right after my 10th grade, I joined the gym and I started training there, and I completely stopped hanging out with people my age. You know why? Because most of my friends were from the gym. And they were all 23, 24-year-olds at that time. And they were all already working, right? They were working in Amazon. My first lifting partner was in Amazon. He would tell me how his experience was in Amazon. My second lifting partner was a mechanical engineer who was working in Royal Enfield manufacturing unit in Oragadam. And then he would share his experience. So by the time I was 17, 16, I started hanging out with people who were far more better than me, stronger than me, bigger than me, and that pushed me to improve myself, right? So at least have 30% of your circle where the people are older than you, or more experienced than you. I'm not saying age defines maturity. I truly believe a lot of you in this crowd are far more matured than some of the people my age. And I believe that people my age are far more mature than people who are 40s and 45s, right? Age doesn't define maturity. That's not what I mean. What I mean is they have lived more than you. So they have the right to advise you. They have the right to help you. So please hang out with people who make you insecure. This is such an infamous thing to say. Why should I hang out with somebody who makes me feel insecure, right? Having inferiority complex is far better than having superiority complex, because when you have superiority complex, you know it all. You know everything. You wouldn't ask any question to anybody. But when you have inferiority complex, if you handle it right, there is always room for development. I can't speak English properly. How can I improve it? I'm feeling insecure about it. I'm lean. I want to build muscle. I go to the gym. I hit the weights. I improve, right? I want to ride my bike. I take it to a track. I test it. I drive it around. I ride it around the curve. So insecurity is very good to handle if you know how to handle it. So hang out with people who are far more better than you. That is how you feed your curiosity. When I was in college, more than the time I spent in my classroom, I spent with my with my staffs, with this personality development officers. They were very close to me. I was the least confident student I ever knew. Not student, a person I ever knew. I can't even go say hi to a girl. I was that bad. I can't respond. Right? So what I did is, I started taking up a lot of seminars. I was not a good student. I was not a great student. Ma'am, should I have to wait? Yeah. So I was not a good student. I would take somewhere between 8, 8.5. I took the most amount of seminars during my college years, and that gave me the confidence to talk in front of 60 people. If I could talk in front of 60 people, then I can talk in front of 6. That's not an issue. So what happened? It pushed me to start hosting symposiums, culturals. I soon became the chief anchor, and I became the literary club head, and I started hosting symposium, culturals, and every single event which was hosted by the literary club, right? So that is how you improvise. So that is how you become better. And then comes the power of experimentation. This is for people who do not know what you want in life. So let me ask you a simple question. Let me give you a simple example. If idli and sambar is what you ate all your life, that is all you ate, like dosa and idli and sambar, that's all. How are you going to tell what is your favorite dish? You should have eaten a pizza. You should have eaten a biryani. You should have eaten a lasagna. You should have eaten ice creams. If you haven't tasted all this, how are you going to say this is my favorite dish? How are you going to answer that question? How are we going about our careers? Our parents and teachers would be like, by the time we are 20, we should know what exactly we should do. That's not it. Right after I graduated from BCom, I'll tell you, this is completely outside the picture. Though I wanted to become an entrepreneur, I did have the money to start my own business. I was just gallivanting around, just wandering around. I didn't have any idea of what to start. So I took a course in film direction in a film institute, and there's a software called Celtex. Okay, it's a script writing software. I learned it. Today, if any of you have a film, I can write the screenplay for it. Right? I can type the script for it. I am nowhere related to cinema or film or anything, but it's just something that I picked up. So you have to experiment before you come to a conclusion that this is my cup of tea, this is what I want to be doing in life. I do a lot of things today. I create content. I post videos on YouTube. I'm also an interior designer. I'm also a manufacturer. That none of this is connected with each other. Like, do you see the point? Like, there are various different combinations of what I do. Nothing is interrelated. The person who does designing for me did mechanical engineering. The person who's the lead of the electrical department in my company is a mechanical engineer. Nobody, just because you've chose BCom doesn't mean you have to go with what BCom offers you. Now, I'm not telling you to pull away from BCom. You have studied BCom, right? Use it, but it doesn't mean that is what you should be pursuing. That's where experimentation comes into place. If you want to try being a YouTuber, start posting videos. See what happens. Let it get 5 views, 6 views. There are not a lot of subscribers or views on my channel. I don't care about it either. It's about content creation that I'm passionate about. It's a side hustle that I do. So try, experiment a lot of things. If you want to become a graphic designer, try graphic designing. There are a lot of softwares today. Do it through Canva, do it through Photoshop. What are you going to experiment? So once you start experiment, some might land on something you might like, right? If there is something that you think you might like, not that you like, might think you might like, go for it. You may feel like, no, I don't think it's for me, but let me just give it a try. And who knows, you can land up with something beautiful. There are a lot of people who came into the picture like that. A lot of people who became giant superstars. They didn't know what they were doing, but they got into it, tried it, and they become a huge success. So that is where the power of curiosity and experimentation comes in. Next comes, just do what you can, right? Just do whatever you can. We all have limitations. Everybody starts somewhere. Some of you might come from a middle class or lower middle class. Some of your parents provided much better than the others. Everybody has limitations. We can't keep on giving excuses that we are not where we are in life because our parents didn't do so, society doesn't do so. I know a lot of people, you go ask them why you are the way you are, they would be like, coronavirus is a reason, Narendra Modi is a reason, my teacher is a reason, my parents did, my father used to hit me when I was a child. Everybody around them is a reason, but he's a good guy. He'd be like, I'm absolutely perfect. Life was just unfair to me. Don't do that. Don't do that. Failure is such an integral part of life, but yet we are not told how to handle failures. So own your failures. It's very, very important. Just do what you can. I'll tell you, I'll share a personal story with you. When I was a student here, I used to come in the bike, right? I used to come to the college in the bike. When I used to see these children of rich people, like rich businessmen, actors, their children, they'd pull off in a 20 lakh or a 50 lakh car sometimes. And I used to long for it because I'm such a car guy. Guys understand the relationship between a guy and a car or a bike. It's a unique bond a guy develops with these beautiful machines, right? I used to long for it. I just wanted to come to college for one day in a car, just come to college, attend the classes, go somewhere out after the college is over and just be done with it. It never happened. Never happened. I used to long for it. Whenever I saw it, I used to long for it. Just a single day, but it never happened and I was totally fine with it. Today while I was driving back here, and I only understood that the beauty of not coming from a lower middle class background is when I gifted my mother her favorite sedan. That is when I understood that. If my parents have ever handed me a keys of a BMW, I would have never known its worth. So today, whatever you feel as a disadvantage could become your advantage someday. This is a very dangerous mindset we have today in society, especially amongst youngsters. Not just youngsters, with anyone in general. People think that you need to be ancestrally wealthy. Your parents should have a lot of money in order for you to become an entrepreneur. That is not the case. Money is not the deciding criteria for business. Money will only help you start a business. Money will only help you set up a business, but it is your skills and ability as an entrepreneur that will determine the success of a business. Any unskilled person with the money can start business, but it takes two skills and ability to grow your business. That's important. Look at all the people that have won. Virat Kohli, Sachin Tendulkar, APJ Abdul Kalam, A.R. Rahman. Where have they come from? Look at their backgrounds. They come from nothing. But today they are true giants. We love them. But look at how we think that you need to be born in a rich family in order to be successful. Look at APJ and Rahman sir, and they don't come from a lot of things, right? Rajinikanth, to this day we have been telling he was a conductor. For 50 years we have been saying that. Recently, you guys know Gopi and Sudhakar, right? Parida Bangal. They're launching their own film. They got rejected by a TV channel and now they're launching their own film. And look at the comment section. This is true success. We always celebrate people who come from nothing. When we see a rich person, a rich kid, we immediately think, what problem does he have in life? No, they have their own pressure. They're constantly being compared. They constantly have big shoes to fill in, right? That's what happens with, back then I used to long for it as well. This guy has a super bike, that guy has a BMW, and I used to long for it. I felt life is unfair to me. It's not. When I go meet my friends who were with me back in the college, now when I go meet them, their parents start comparing themselves. Like, this guy had nothing, he's doing so and so, what are you doing? That's a horrible place to be in. So whatever limitations that we have, but that we think we have today, is actually a blessing in disguise. So just do what you can. You might have a normal cell phone. You might have a normal laptop. Whatever your parents have provided you with, just use it. Just use it. Just use it to do whatever that you can. That's what I did, because by the time I wanted to graduate out of BCom, I just wanted to have 1 lakh with me, right? Because I can't, once I'm done with BCom, I don't want to go out and ask money for anyone or ask money from a bank, get a loan from a financial institution. I just wanted to have my money so that I don't have to be dependent on anyone to start my business, right? That's why I started doing drop shipping. That's why I started importing and selling things over here. And by the time I graduated, I had around 1 lakh and 14,000 or something. But I didn't use it for my business. I took up a course in film direction. My second startup came much later on, which was a huge failure, to a point where I had to file cases in Economics Offence Wing and High Court against the people who were involved. The third startup that I did was a YouTube channel. I launched it, did terrible mistakes with the channel. I launched it in English. It was a huge mistake. And then I discontinued it after 5-6 months. ChairsCarté was my 4th. INDE was my 5th. And this is a 7-year journey. And let me tell you something. If you start now, do whatever you can and do it now. If you start now, by the time you become 25, most people who don't start now, right, they can't match you. They can't come up to the level of skills you have, level of money you have. They simply can't match you. You guys will become unbeatable. If you start at 18, by the time you're 25, because most people start their careers at 22, 23. They just have 2 years of experience, whereas you would have 7. That's what matters. If you see, we always troll the boomers generation, but if you see, most of them, they started their careers very early, which gave them an unfair advantage. You people are extremely, extremely smart compared to the 90s kids. 2K kids are extremely smart. On a professional level, it's always the 2K kids that I prefer. You know why? Because you guys talk about cryptocurrency. You guys talk about what's the next big startup, what's the next big tech startup, artificial intelligence. On a professional level, I prefer the 2K kids over the 90s kids. Personal level, I might prefer the 90s kids because I feel you guys are a little bit arrogant and hot-headed, but largely, on a professional level, I respect you guys. You have the humility to sit down and listen. I'm a stranger, I'm a complete stranger, but you have the humility to sit down and listen. Most of you are looking at me. Most of you, I wasn't expecting this. I thought half of you would be talking with each other or looking at your phone, but most of you are listening. That's incredible. 90s kids wouldn't have done that. They would have been great friends, but professional level, no. When I wanted to talk about business, there was not a single friend who showed up. Go to cinema, tens of friends would come. Go to a restaurant, tens of friends would come. Startup பத்தி பேசலாம்டா ஒருத்தனும் வர மாட்டான். Nobody would come, nobody would show up. So that is why it's very important to do what you can, whatever that you can. We all have limitations, right? So please understand that and learn how to sacrifice. Learn the art of sacrifice. Not everything needs money. Not everything needs money. Say for example, if you want to build a good body, you need to sacrifice 1 hour of the day in order to go to the gym and start training. If you want to learn graphic designing, you need to sacrifice 1 hour of your day to take your laptop and sit down and learn graphic designing. You need to learn the art of sacrificing. That is something that I'm doing to this very day. I never see. There are a lot of people my age, 25-year-olds, they'll be like, Kishore, I wish I did this. Kishore, I wish I started early. They have regrets, right? I have the opposite regret. I wish I bunked a class. I wish I cut college and went to cinema with my ex-girlfriend. I didn't do any of it. Today I have that regrets. I am somebody who overdid everything. Right? You don't have to go to that extreme, but I'm saying you should learn the art of sacrificing. Sacrificing is something that I do to this very day. You know, another personal story. To this very day, I have never really bought anything to satisfy myself. I buy some good clothes because when I was growing up, I used to wear torn clothes and go to tuition and everybody used to make fun of me. So I invest in good clothes. Apart from that, I've never bought anything for myself. It's always bootstrapping. Bootstrapping means reinvesting your profits back into the business. The one thing that it was always about buying my mother's favorite sedan, doing something for my mom. You know, my family was in financial ruins. My mother had 40 lakh worth of jewels in the bank. I had to get it back. This is what my personal aims were. Apart from that, I have to reinvest in business and give job opportunities to people as well. That on the other side. I've never done anything for myself. The only thing that I wanted was a Kawasaki Z900. That naked super sport was my favorite bike of all time. That's the only thing I wanted, a Kawasaki Z900. But to this day, there have been numerous number of times I just feel like I get up from my office and go book that bike, but I wouldn't do that. You know why? That's the question I ask myself. Are you going to get this bike, satisfy your materialistic desires, or are you going to bootstrap that back into the business and give opportunity to 2 more employees, deploy 4 more laborers? What is it that you're going to do? And I stopped myself, right? So there's a huge difference between desires of what you can't afford and desires of what you can afford. Like right now, if I want a Bugatti, I can't afford it. But I can see it from a distance and I feel like, oh, that's a cool car. But it's completely opposite when you can afford that vehicle. I mean, you can afford that bike, but still you stop yourself, you restrain yourself from getting that bike and satisfying your materialistic desire. It's something I would, I made a list when I was 18 years old. When I turned 18, I made a list of 20 things that I wanted to do. Everything in that list for retire your mother, get the family out of financial ruins, start have a sustainable business. These are the things, everything was tick, 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 done, done, done. But the one thing that I wrote for myself, the Kawasaki Z900, never happened. I can still go get it, but I won't. Because I'd rather prefer bootstrapping in my business and giving more job opportunities. I think that's very important for you. Art of sacrificing. Learn that. Sacrifice 1 hour of your day, half an hour of your time. We always feel, and one more thing, completely outside the picture, hang out with quality people. There are a lot of people who might be skilled in something, right? You might know Adobe Premiere Pro, somebody might know Photoshop, some might have a lot of knowledge about politics, some might have a lot of knowledge about geography. Talk with these people, learn a lot of things. We live in a time where, especially guys, we think doing a lot of things is something to be proud of, like let's say doing drugs or psychedelics or liquor or smoking. These are things that you do for your pleasure. It makes you happy. I'm not going into the morality, whether it's right or wrong. Of course, it's bad for your health. Smoking and drinking, of course. If I say psychedelics, someone would get up and argue it's not bad for your health. I don't want to get into that. But the thing is, these are not things that you should be proud of. These are done for your pleasure. Be happy with it, but don't be proud of it. Guys especially, they do immature riding on the streets, on the bikes, riding it at 120, 140. That's not cool. If you have an open highway and you're on a highway and it's completely open, then it's fine. But doing it on the streets is absolute nuisance. See, when I say I don't want you guys to be riding at 140, what I really want for you guys is earn a lot of money, buy a S1000 RR or a Kawasaki ZX10R, go to the track, get your suit, ride it at 240, not at 140. That is success. This, adding a muffler to a Splendor or a Honda Dio, that's nuisance. Get a super bike, man. Go earn, get a super bike, get it to the track. Whatever RPM the bike provides you, experience it. Take the curve, fall. It's fine. It's your money. It's success. Take a video of the flyby, post it on Instagram. Doing it on the streets, no. When I say I don't want you guys to party, I want you guys to party in Dubai 10 years from now, all of you together. How cool would that be? How many people can afford it? Imagine sacrificing partying for 10 years and then suddenly all of you get together, at least 4 of you, 3 of you, and party somewhere overseas. How many people can do that? That's real flaunting. We often think of the wrong things as the gettu. It's not. Rash driving your bike is not, or rash driving your car is not something to be proud of. Buying your own car, gifting your parents, that is something that you should feel proud of. So we always think about the wrong things and we feel proud of it. Am I relatable to you guys? I'm just 5 years older. Yeah? Right. All of you have 2K, right? Born post 2000s, right? Any 90s? Not one? Oh, you are born in 90s. Apart from her? Apart, nobody. Just you. Right. So that leads me to the last part of the keynote. So now you have known what you want to do. You have also accepted, understood it is okay to not know what you want to do. You have become curious, you have started reading articles, you started doing, and let me tell you, when I say do it now, don't give me the I'm young, I have time and all that. There are a lot of teenage millionaires who have done it through startups. That's how incredible 2K kids are, this generation is. Lot of Zepto is one example. I think it's a 1,000+ crore company or something. And you know the founder of Oyo as well, he's extremely young, some 26, 27, somewhere between that. When he founded the company, probably in his early 20s. So there are a lot of young people who are accomplishing a lot of things and making a shitload of money. So that's very important to understand. So experiment, become curious, read articles, whatever you're curious about. It could be about cinema. There could be the next Lokesh Kanagaraj sitting here. I don't know. Just because you chose BCom doesn't mean you can't become a cinema director. For the profession that I am in, I should have done BArch. I've never stepped foot in a BArch college. I should have done civil engineering. I don't even know what that is. And I'll tell you a fun story, right? I think now it has changed. I don't think it's relevant anymore. So when I took commerce, right? That's the very day when I put a tick, right after I graduated 10th grade, I put a tick on the commerce, and I was so sure I was going to do commerce. And people would diss me, right? Disrespect me. Sorry, I'm trying some 2K lingos and all, just to be more relatable. They would diss me, disrespect me. And I would be like, why? Like people who took medicine were considered to be the top tier, people who took engineering considered to be the second of the top tier, and commerce was only taken by losers and people who come from rich backgrounds. Then I thought, you idiots, why are you going to become a doctor? Government or private hospital? Who owns that private hospital? A businessman, a commerce guy. No matter how big of a successful software engineer you become, who owns that IT company? A businessman, and you disrespect us. Stupidity at its core. Unfortunately, I'm not proud of it. This is not a cool punchline that I want to give. It really saddened me. They would look down upon us as if like we were untouchables, arts pasanga. That was the treatment we got back in the day. Now once we always do this, like I love nightlife. Nightlife in the sense of I love working at night. So once the work is over, me, my chief architect, lead of the electrical department, my frontline manager, all of us around 1 o'clock, 2 that's a beautiful thing about entrepreneurship, man. You can work till 5 in the morning if you want to and sleep till 11, 12. Or you can wake up at 4:30 and start your work. You have the freedom with time. More than the money, it's the freedom you get with. Nobody calls you. You call everybody. So we used to talk like have tea at 2 in the morning and we'd be like, We never talk about our educational backgrounds. I was BCom. My lead in electrical department, the lead of the electrical department, mechanical engineer. And I said, gee, then the chief engineer said, gee, neengalum mechanical, nano mechanical. And then the other guy, frontline manager, he should have done MBA, mechanical engineer. You know, I was the only guy who did BCom. So that's when I understood. Engineering teaches you so and so. Medicine teaches you so and so. When you go to a civil engineering, it teaches you construction. When you go to BArch, it teaches you architecture. But the so-called good for nothing BCom taught me the skill of hiring and recruitment. Which means when you want to build, when you want to own a company which builds, when you want to own a company which does interior designing, you don't have to do BCom. You don't have to do BArch or civil engineering. You just should be skilled enough to recruit the right people. Just have good management skills. These are infamous things to say in a college. Such infamous things to say in a college, but the college can only get updated so much. By the time the college comes into internet advertising, somebody would be advertising on TikTok and Instagram. College can't catch up. It just can't. Because whatever, see, if you see the radio to television transformation, right? It took 3 decades. First it was print media, 3 decades later radio, 3 decades later television. So in 90s it was black and white, early 2000s we had color TVs. But today, the hot thing, is it Google ads for 2 years, Instagram ads next 2 years, and suddenly something new comes. So back then, evolution was generational. Father would have been great at print media, son would do radio, his son would do television. But today, all of it has to be done by the same person. If you don't get updated, you'll get kicked out. That's how the market would treat you. So that is how you need to be updated, and you should learn that doing BCom is nothing to look down at. It's something you all should be proud of doing. And I think it's totally changing. Your HOD told me right before this, we had a conversation for an hour. She said it's changing. There's a lot of demand for BCom students, and that is true in a lot of ways. So you're in the right place, but that doesn't mean you have to pursue whatever BCom offers you. I just sat down for one campus interview, hated it, because they had a standard test, right? And putting 20, 30 people into it, and all of them goes through the standard test. If you take Usain Bolt, Virat Kohli, Michael Jordan, ask them to race, it's obvious Bolt is going to win, but that doesn't mean Virat Kohli and Jordan is not a legend. How will you test, right? How will you test the skill and the ability of a person if you give everybody the same test? So I don't believe in, I do not subscribe to it at all. So these are the things which are very, very important for you to understand, and then comes the last part, mindset and self-belief. The mindset is super important. No matter what you do, no matter what position you are in life, you should always believe, just believe. Like I previously mentioned, right? I didn't know why my college was going to give me a call, but I knew for sure it was going to give me a call. That's the thought I entertained. That's the belief I entertained. I mean, I think you can go and probably I will post it today about, I just put a picture, like I put a story, right, about when I was in college. In my Instagram, I just put like, done being a student in an educational institute, hashtag done with the system, something like that. And then I meant it. That was 4.5 years ago. I was done being a student. The next time I come here, I would come as a chief lecturer or whatever, but not as a student. I made sure of that. I made sure it happened. So these are the things that are very, very important for you to learn. Your mindset is super important. Don't ask yourself, how am I going to do this? Set a goal. I want to get a BMW in 10 years, let's say. Don't think of how. Just believe you will and figure out how you can. It's a process. You can always take a step back. And just because today you want to be a YouTuber, in 2 years' time, suddenly if you want to go into film direction, you can. This is a very infamous advice to give. Like, I'm not saying you should be jumping between careers. What I'm saying is, be open to the idea of change. Recently, the very recent site that I did, it was a house. We converted it into an office to do some business, right? And it was owned by 2 people. One guy was a mechanical engineer who was working in that field for 8 years. He's 34, 35, has a family, kids. The other guy was an IT person, software engineer, has experience of about 14 years or something. he's 40. They have families, and you know what they did? They called it a quit. I'm not going to pursue this, I'm going to start my own business. 14 years after being in IT, 8 years after being in mechanical engineering, like in that field. And they have families to feed, they have children to feed. It's not a small decision to make. They did that. If 34-year-old, 40-year-old, by the way, that's not very old age, but if they can do it, having a family to suffice, why can't we guys? Definitely you guys. I'm not saying you to jump between careers. I'm just telling you to try various different things. Whatever that you think you might like. Try it. Give yourself a timeline. Right? I'm not saying you should have accomplished this by this age, get a house by that age. That's not what I'm saying. Give yourself a time frame where you can experiment various different things. Or else you'll just be roaming around. You wouldn't know what you want to do. Let's say I give all of you a Ferrari and I'll give you 50,000 bucks to go anywhere from Chennai. You have one of the most powerful engines, one of the most powerful cars, but if you do not know if you're going to drive it to Hyderabad or Kochi or Bangalore or Kanyakumari, where are you going to go? You have a Ferrari, but you don't know where to go. You're just going to roam around, and in the middle of night, you're going to end in nowhere. Why I'm saying this is, it doesn't matter how talented or how smart or how much knowledge you have. If you don't know where you're going, you'll just be roaming around. Who do you think are mostly jobless? Talented people. Smart people who have a lot of knowledge. You will be verbally butchered. If you want to start a business, the first slipper shot you'll get from is from your house. Luckily, in my case, that wasn't my problem. It's just I had my mother. My mother was constantly pushing me. I had nobody to convince. Because, you know, what gives you that power? Don't be dependent on money from your parents. They lose their power on you. Respect them. They will verbally butcher you. Verbally butcher you. Then, when a stranger comes and yells at you, how would you mind it? Because the people that you love have already butchered you verbally. So it doesn't matter what the world says, the stranger says. So experiment a lot of things. That is how your mindset should be. That's how your self-belief should be. It's very important. It's super important to understand. Mindset and self-belief are so powerful. I said about ancestral wealth. Beep ancestral wealth. Beep it. There is nothing more powerful than time, youth, and mindset at your disposal. If you have all these three at your disposal, then you're indomitable. Nobody can stop you. That's super important. That's very important to understand. I'll tell you a story of the kind of conviction I had, right? This was again about the time I graduated from college. I went to this TRP auditorium. Is it still there? I went to this TRP auditorium, and that was the last day of my college life, right? I was done being a student. I'm excited to go out to the real world, and I'm excited to try new things. But at the same time, I was extremely sad that I was not going to see my ex-girlfriend every day. That was just not going to happen. I went there to the TRP auditorium because we always used to take part in literally club events. Whatever she took first, I'll take second. Whatever I took first, she'll take second. The top two spots were always, reserved for the two of us. So whatever we competed in, we won. So we used to go to collect certificates and awards together. And I was utterly silent. And that's when I took this picture of my boots and my bag. I was putting a hash thing and all, done being a student, done with the system and all that. And then I was utterly silent. On one side, I'm excited to go to the real world. On the other side, I'm sad about this, right? So she asked me, what? Why are you silent? I was just looking at the stage, and I didn't want to tell the truth. And I tried to be heroic. I said, you know what, in 5 years' time, I'm going to come back. The next time I step foot in this college, I'll come as a guest lecturer and not as a student. And she looked at me, she smiled, and she said, I'm sure you're going to do that. That's the conviction I had in me. I was so sure I was going to come back. I told her, she looked at me and said, I'm pretty sure you're going to do it, but are you going to take 5 years for that? That's the belief she had in me, right? And it's, for the record, it's exactly been 4 years and 9 months, and here I am. With that note, I'll end this keynote. So if you have any questions, you don't have to ask me questions from whatever that I've spoken about. If you have doubts, of course, I'll clear it. but please make it as personalized, as customized as possible. All of you here, no matter who stands up right now, me, my team, everybody here is going to be supportive of you. If you have the guts and the confidence to get up and talk about your problem, no matter how harsh it is, you, my friend, have the single most ingredient to become successful, that is self-confidence. So I'll take 10 questions, 5 from boys, 5 from girls. And girls, by the way, I'm very sorry, this was very guy-centric, very masculine-centric. I was talking about super bikes, Ferraris, going to the gym and all that. Very sorry about that. I can only talk much about what I can relate to, right? So if you have any questions, do ask me. I apologize for that. So I'll take 5 from you, 5 from here. Make it as uncomfortable as possible. Be as honest as possible. We'll get this started.
You were talking about your failures, right?
Yeah.
You failed for almost 3 times.
Yeah.
And this company and the INDE was a fourth and fifth.
Yeah.
Fourth and fifth. So as you faced lots of failures, why weren't you demotivated? Was it your family background? As you said that you had a lot of debts and you were just a normal middle class family. Was it that motivated you, or it was your career that you thought that can bring you up?
No, the thing is, I am a glory freak. I like narratives like I was here, I was doing that, blah, 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 and then I'm here. So that was my drive. The more hit I took, the more failures I took, I got motivated. Because that's going to become a cool story, right? You don't want people who are successful right away. So when I fail, I take lessons. There's no such thing as failure at all. It's only lessons. It's always, see, failure is such an integral part of your life. Such an integral part of your life. Yet, the system doesn't teach us how to handle failures. Even if you're going through constant failures, hitting roadblocks after roadblocks, you should have the persistence. You should keep going. Or else you won't win. You can't win. Somebody who's keeping on going about it will win. You have no other choice. The other choice sucked. Was getting a job. Hated it. I wouldn't have survived a day. So I had no choice. I had to go through it. And my mindset at that time was all about how is this story going to be cool 10 years from now? That's all. That positive approach to no matter what the situation is. That's why I said mindset and self-belief is super important. If I had stopped, would they have invited me? I don't think so. That's the reason.
Because most of the people I've seen from my own background, they go for entrepreneurship. They do it for a year. If it is not successful, they drop off and they jump to IT field. So which is like totally opposite from what they want to and what they're doing. So that is the reason I asked.
Because they want to play safe. And also some people, we can't judge them directly. Some people have families to feed. They can't be, I'm single, I just have a mother. I don't have a lot of commitments, right? I can fail. I can lose money. I can afford to do it. But some people can't. They have jobs to go for. They need to feed their family. The child needs their tuition or school fee. Needs to provide for the home. So that's why they quit and go back. That is why I tell you guys, it's super important to start early. If you start at 18, 19, by the time you're 25, I'm 25. 5 startups, 3 failed. Doesn't matter now. Because most people my age are regretting that they didn't start early, right? Till for my age, I'm fine. I'm doing fine. That's why it's important. Don't quit. Just see, when you start early, you have a lot of time to mess around. You can fail. Nobody cares. If you're 30-year-old, and especially this is a problem for guys, if you graduate and you sit at home, you'll be butchered verbally. For girls, it's the marriage scenario.
Agreed.
What other choice do you have? So if you start early, no matter how many times you fail, nobody is going to bother you. They're just proud of the fact you're trying something. Most people don't even try. That's what people will appreciate you for. Yeah.
Thank you.
தமிழ்ல கேக்குறவங்க தமிழ்லயே கேட்கலாம். ஒருவேளை அது தடுக்குதோன்னு தெரியல எனக்கு.
Sir, my name is Anish. Sir, the things you gave tips were very useful for us, sir.
Okay.
Shall I ask one question?
Sure, go ahead. அதானே வேணும்.
Sir, what is your very first salary and what is your current salary, sir?
I never had a job.
Sir, what is the amount you get from first salary?
Initially, when I was in college, at max I was making 13k, 12k. At max. When I graduated, the people who got jobs, right, they were, in spite of being an entrepreneur, they had more money, they were earning more money than me.
Okay.
They all got a job like 25, 30k, but I was making 11, 12 right after I graduated from college. So literally, the people who studied with me were beating me for 2 years. But later on, that is the thing. When you take up entrepreneurship, you're not going to make a lot of money initially for the first couple of years. Okay? But as you go on, all the money that your peers have made so far, you can just make that money in 1 month's time. And in business, you can never say, this is my fixed amount. It fluctuates. Like say, for example, December to January, right? In Tamil, in our culture, the வீடெல்லாம் inaugurate பண்ண மாட்டாங்க. That's a common practice. In the மாசத்துல பண்ணக்கூடாதுன்னு சொல்லிட்டு. So we won't get a lot of orders, so our sales goes down. But right after Pongal, and then there is a saying in Tamil as well, தை பிறந்தா வழி பிறக்கும் something. Yeah. அதனால என்ன பண்ணுவாங்க எல்லாரும் வீடு ஆபீஸ் எல்லாம் ஓபன் பண்ணுவாங்க, so sales will shoot up. This fluctuations would always be there. I can't say I made 7 figures last month, this month will be 6, then again 7. Fluctuates. It's not static. Bro, ஒன்னும் வித்தியாசம் இல்ல பிசினஸ்க்கும் இதுக்கும். Are you done? Sit down, please. Please sit down. The thing is, if you take a job, nobody will question you. They'll all stop questioning you. Okay, they got a job. அதான் அந்த ஃபாரின் போற கேஸ் தான். ஃபாரின் போயிட்டாங்க செட்டில்டு, அவ்வளவுதான். அவன் அங்க என்ன பண்றான்னு அவனுக்கு தான் தெரியும். அந்த மாதிரி தான் இந்த ஜாப்ன்ற ஒரு சினாரியோவும். வேலை கட்சிச்சா பையன் வேலைக்கு போயிட்டான், அவ்வளவுதான். ஆனா பிசினஸ் பண்றீங்கன்னா 10 வருஷம் பேசியே சாவடிச்சிருவாங்க. அதுக்கப்புறம் தான் they'll start எல்லாம் அந்த சொந்தம் பந்தம்லாம் இருக்கு இல்லையா, they'll start coming. The boomer uncleலாம் ஃபோனே பண்ணிருக்க மாட்டான். He'll call you after 15 years. இல்லப்பா எப்படிப்பா இருக்க, மறந்துட்டு ஒண்ணுமே உங்க லைஃப் ஹெல்ப் பண்ணிருக்க மாட்டான். என்னப்பா மறந்துட்டியான்னு கேட்பான், என்னடா செஞ்ச மறக்கிறதுக்கு. So you know, that's how it will be. So இதுதான் வித்தியாசம். இப்போ சொல்றேனே, go put a post, both boys and girls, சும்மா சொல்றேன். Or if you really get an internship or a job, you put a post. If girls post it, they'll get around, let's say 200 likes, 20 comments, slay queen, you know, go queen, go get it girl. பசங்க போட்டோன்னா ஒரு 20 லைக், and you'll get 5 comments from the same people who have been commenting for the last 10 years. Okay. But business start பண்றேன்னு போடுங்க, 3 பேர் லைக் பண்ணுவாங்க. Until your business becomes big, then some people will start ignoring you. They won't talk to you because you make them feel insecure. But no matter if it's a girl or a boy, this is a common denominator. No matter who puts a post, I've started a business, you won't get any response, not even encouragement. At Elon Musk la பாராட்டி ட்வீட் போடுவாங்க, கூடயே இருப்பான். நம்மள வந்து அப்ரிஷியேட் பண்றதோ தட்டி கொடுக்கறதோ ஒண்ணுமே இருக்காது. அவன் தெரியாதவங்களுக்குலாம் வெள்ளக்காரனுக்குலாம் போஸ்ட் பண்ணுவாங்க, நம்மள யாருமே தட்டி கொடுக்க மாட்டாங்க. அதான் வித்தியாசம். Any other questions? Can be personalized, can not be exactly about the business, வேலை, காலேஜ் பத்தி மட்டும் இல்லாம எதுவா இருந்தாலும் கேட்கலாம். Please, yeah, go ahead.
Bro, you have 2 successful startups. Are you satisfied with it, or you are more eager to start more? If you see Ratan Tata, from eatables to drivables, you have companies in every aspects. Are you of that type, or are you satisfied with this too, or going to improve that?
I told you, right? You should be curious. I've not lost my curiosity yet. Tomorrow, if I find something which is more fun, which is more drivable, which interests me more, I'll go for it. Doesn't mean I'll stop doing these. It will be a part of it. Probably I'll appoint a CEO or a general manager. But I'm interested in tech startups and all that, right? But I don't have the expertise to do it. If I get an opportunity, I definitely do it. See, for me, I post content on YouTube. Am I the greatest YouTuber? No. I manufacture chairs. Am I the greatest manufacturer? No. Am I the greatest interior designer? No. Am I the greatest motivational speaker? No. My satisfaction is just doing this. It's not about being the best at what I do. I just want to do various different things and be very good at it. Simple. Yeah. Anything else? Yeah, go ahead.
How did you cope up with your financial constraints, sir?
So what happens is, that's why your start will be extremely slow. See, when I said money is not the fundamental factor deciding to start a business, I'm not demonizing money, or I'm not devaluing its importance. What I'm saying is money does a lot of things to you. It helps you buy machinery, employ more people, deploy more labor. So when you have a parent's background, it's good. But when you don't start from nothing, like you asked, how do you manage when you have financial constraints? You have to take a step back. You have lost so and so money. This is what you have, and then you have to start from there. But that is still a lot of money than you initially had.
I'm asking about the first stage, like the first phase.
I was drop shipping. I started with $4,000, which was my savings. Even as a child, like when I was 8-year-old, I'd have a
Piggy bank.
piggy bank, something like that. I'll have a lot of 5 rupee coins and all that. Savings was a huge part of my life. So I started with 4,000 bucks. So I used to import sneakers, sunglasses, and then 4,000 became 4, 5, 5, 5, 6, 5, 10, like that. That's how I started. So when I lose money, I take a step back and start with whatever I have. Yeah.
That's it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sir, so you had okay.
இல்ல ஒரு வாட்டி நான் I used to be a chief anchor of this college.
Okay.
3 மணி நேரம் பேசுவேன். தண்ணியே கொடுக்க மாட்டாங்க. அதனால நானே எடுத்துட்டு வந்துட்டேன். நீங்க அன்னைக்கு ரொம்ப பிஸியா இருந்தீங்க. ராம்பஸ். கொடுங்க. நான் மனசுல எதுவும் வச்சுக்கல. Go ahead.
Yeah, sir. So you had a major goal. Your major goal is to start up a company.
Yeah.
So that was your major thing, and you were traveling on that goal. So and you did a film course, that kind of
Completely deviated.
small goals and the mati. So how do you manage to do all those short-term goals without getting without the major goal isn't disturbed? How do you do that? Like your major goal is to start up a company, and by the side you had temporary goals like making a film course, something like that. And how do you manage, like rendume disturb agama, how did you do that?
The thing is, that's when the third point comes, the art of sacrificing. You should learn. ஒரு நாள்ல ஒரு 2 hours 3 hours நம்ம சாக்ரிஃபைஸ் பண்ணாதான் ஒரு ஸ்கில்ல கத்துக்க முடியும். எல்லாத்துக்குமே நம்ம காசு கொடுக்கணும்னு அவசியம் இல்லையா? ஸோ நீங்க அதை சாக்ரிஃபைஸ் பண்ணி தான் ஆகணும். ஸோ இப்போ நான் இண்டே டெவலப் பண்ணணும், அதுக்காக ChairsCartéல டைம் கம்மியா ஸ்பெண்ட் பண்ணணும்னா பண்ணி தான் ஆகணும். Right? That is how I can maximize my profit in INDE. Okay. You can't balance out everything equally. There are certain phases of your life where you have to take a step back. Sometimes you need to take a step back from your personal life completely. I haven't met my friends in years, decades. High school friends la 10 வருஷம் கிட்ட பார்க்கல. You have to take a step back from personal life ன்னு இல்ல, business ஆ இருந்தாலும் சரி, உங்களுடைய side hustle and part time things இல்லையா, அதுல இருந்தும் step back எடுத்து நீங்க ஃபோக்கஸ் பண்ணாதான் முடியும். அப்பதான் எல்லாமே செய்ய முடியும். And the direction thing was an accident. I went there to learn video editing for the videos that I was going to produce for my company, right? அங்க இருந்தவர் கன்வின்ஸ் பண்ணி film direction சேர்த்து விட்டாரு. But I made the best use of it. I worked in a pre-production of a film. It never got released, but I did the script for it. So அதுக்கும் எனக்கும் இப்ப சம்பந்தமே இல்ல. So some things happen by accident, but who knows, in 10 years time can make a film. I don't know.
All the best.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
பசங்க சைடு கேள்வியே இல்லையா? நம்மள மாதிரியே இருக்கான். Go ahead.
So how did you get this startup idea? Like what are the sources of your information? Did you read articles or did you watch any videos like reading newspapers? How did you get the source?
So what I first used to do is, I said, right, you can sit down if you want. Do you want me to say this in English or Tamil? Tamil புரியுமா? Tamil is good இல்ல? ஸோ நான் என்ன பண்ணேன்னா, நான் இப்போ சொல்லியிருந்தேன் இல்லையா, உங்களுக்கு எதெல்லாம் கியூரியாசிட்டி உருவாகுதோ, ஒரு யூடியூபர் ஆகணும், ஒரு ஆண்டர்பிரினர் ஆகணும்னு எதெல்லாம் உங்களுக்கு ரொம்ப இன்க்யூசிட்டிவாக இருக்கோ, அவங்கள பார்க்கும் போது கேள்வி கேட்கணும். நான் என்ன பண்ணுவேன்னா, எப்பெல்லாம் ஆண்டர்பிரினர்ஸோட பேசுகிற சான்ஸ் கிடைக்குமோ கேள்வி கேட்பேன். இப்போ நீங்கள் கேட்குறீங்கல்ல, இதனால தான் இது ரொம்ப முக்கியம். அங்கே உட்காந்து நான் கேள்வி கேட்டுக்கிட்டே இருப்பேன். அண்ட் அட் த சேம் டைம் கியூரியாசிட்டியும் ஒரு சைட் ஃபீட் பண்ணுறேன், எக்ஸ்பெரிமெண்டேஷனும் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கேன். அந்த அலிபாபா எக்ஸ்பிரஸ் சொன்னேன்ல, அங்கேருந்து ட்ராப் ஷிப் பண்ணி சேலும் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கேன். ஸோ எக்ஸ்பெரிமெண்டேஷனும் இருக்கு, கியூரியாசிட்டியும் இருக்கு. ஸோ கொஞ்சம் கொஞ்சமா பிசினஸ் நாலேஜ் வருது. ChairsCarté எப்படின்னா, எனக்கு ஒரு ப்ராடக்ட் கிரியேட் பண்ணணும், என்ன பண்ண போறேன்னு தெரியாது, பட் யாரா இருந்தாலும் அது யூஸ்ஃபுல்லா அவங்களுக்கு இருக்கணும் அப்படின்றது ஒரு ஆசை. ஸோ சேர்ன்ற ஒரு விஷயம் எல்லார் வீட்லயும் இருக்கும். நாங்க வளர்ந்ததே டெவலப் ஆனதே பாத்தீங்கன்னா லாக்டவுன் டைம்ல தான். All the businesses shut down during lockdown, but it was when we developed. You know why? Amazon, Flipkart, Pepperfry, they stopped distribution in Chennai. All the shops were closed. Major furniture store எல்லாமே மூட்டாங்க. We were a manufacturing unit. So இந்த நடுவுல இந்த 10:30 வரைக்கும் அந்த லாக்டவுன் ரெஸ்ட்ரிக்ஷன் வச்சிருந்தாங்க. ஞாபகம் இருக்கா? 10:30 வரைக்கும் நீங்க வெளில போலாம். அப்போ ஆன்லைன் கிளாஸஸ் அனௌன்ஸ் பண்ணிட்டாங்க, காலேஜ் ஒர்க் ஃப்ரம் ஹோம் அனௌன்ஸ் பண்ணி ஐடில காசும் கொடுத்துட்டாங்க அக்கௌண்ட்ல. ஆனா அவனுக்கு சேர் டேபிள் வாங்குறதுக்கு இடம் இல்லை. எங்க போவான்? கடை மூடி இருக்கு. That is when we came into the picture. So நாங்க என்ன பண்ணுவோம், கார்ல போக முடியாது, கார் இல்ல அப்போ. ஸோ காலையில 4 மணிக்கு டெலிவரி ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணுவோம். பைக்ல தான் போகணும். என்ஃபீல்ட்ல நான் உட்காந்துப்பேன். அப்போ இருந்த ஃப்ரண்ட்லைன் மேனேஜர் பின்னாடி உட்காந்து சேரை தலைக்கு மேலே கவுத்துட்டு அப்படியே பூந்தமல்லி ஃபேக்ட்ரி, ஸோ வி பிரிங் இட் டு வல்சராகம்லேருந்து சேட்பட், திருப்பி வந்துட்டு இன்னொரு சேர் எடுத்துட்டு ட்ரிப்ளிகேன், திருப்பி வந்துட்டு இன்னொரு சேர் எடுத்துட்டு அப்படியே 10 மணிக்குள்ள ஒரு 7-8 ஆர்டர் முடிச்சிருவோம். ஸோ இது என்ன ஆகுதுன்னா எல்லாருக்குமே போய் சேருதா? தட்ஸ் அ ப்ராடக்ட். See, if you're a policeman, if you're a lawyer, if you're a robber, no matter who you are, you need a chair to sit and work from. வீடோ ஆஃபீஸோ தேவைப்படும். INDE எப்படி தெரியுமா வந்துச்சு? நாங்கள் ஆஃபீஸ்க்குலாம் போவோம். எப்பவுமே நீங்கள் ஒன்று பாருங்க, ஆஃபீஸ் பூஜை போட்டோடனே ஃபர்ஸ்ட் அவங்க வாங்குறது ஃபர்னிச்சர் தான். ஸோ ஃபர்னிச்சருக்காக போகும்போது அவங்க என்ன சொல்லுவாங்கன்னா, சார் இன்டீரியர் முடிச்சுட்டு கூப்பிடுறோம், டோர்லாம் போடணும், ஃபால் சீலிங்லாம் போடணும், முடிச்சுட்டு கூப்பிடுறேன்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. சரின்ட்டு நான் ஒரு 1 month வெயிட் பண்ணுவேன். முடிச்சுட்டு போனதுக்கு அப்புறமா ஃபர்னிச்சர் ஆர்டர் கிடைக்கும். அப்போதான் நான் யோசிச்சேன், why should I not start interior? இப்படிதான் அது லீட் ஆகும். நீங்க ஒன்னு நினைச்சு செஞ்சுட்டு, now today INDE is far bigger than ChairsCarté. ChairsCarté is 10% of what I do. INDE being the major, வீடு, ஆஃபீஸ், modular kitchen, everything, right from CCTV camera, biometric systems, security systems, எல்லாமே. ஸோ இப்படிதான் ஒன் பை ஒன்னா வரும். பட் fundamental idea was building a product which can be used by anyone irrespective of the profession they are in. சாஃப்ட்வேர் இன்ஜினியரோ, லாயரோ, யாரா இருந்தாலும் அவங்களுக்குனால அவங்க பசங்களுக்கு ஆன்லைன் கிளாஸ் அட்டென்ட் பண்ண தேவைப்படும்ல. ஸோ அதுதான் கான்செப்ட். அந்த கான்செப்டுவலைசேஷனை நம்ம ரியலைசேஷன் கொண்டு வரோம். அது மூலயமா இன்னொரு ஆப்பர்ச்சுனிட்டி கிடைக்கும். நான் சேர் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் டேபிள் நாங்கள் செய்யல. சேர் கொடுக்க போகும்போது பேப்பர் பென் மாதிரி தானே, பேப்பர் வாங்கினா பென் வாங்கணும். ஸோ தட்ஸ் ஹவ் டேபிள் கேம் இன்டு தி பிக்சர். டேபிளுக்கு அப்புறம் இட் பிகேம் பிகர், எக்ஸிக்யூட்டிவ் டேபிள், கான்ஃபரன்ஸ் டேபிள், தென் இட் பிகேம் டோர்ஸ், வுடன் சீலிங்ஸ், வுடன் ஃப்ளோரிங், டுக் மீ ஆன் அ பாத். ஸோ ஃபர்ஸ்ட் கான்செப்டை நீங்கள் ட்ரை பண்ணும்போது உங்களுக்கு இன்னும் நிறைய ஐடியாஸ் வரும். இவரு இருக்கார்ல, இர்ஃபான் வியூஸ் தெரியுமா? அவரோட சேனல் பேசிக்கா வந்து மூவி ரிவ்யூ பண்ற சேனல். தட்ஸ் ஹவ் ஹி ஸ்டார்டட். எங்கேயோ ஒரு இடத்துல ஃபுட் ரிவ்யூ பண்ணி ஹிட் ஆகி கண்டினியூஸா அடிச்சாரு. இப்போ இஸ் அ லைஃப் டைம் பிளாகர். இந்த மாதிரி நிறைய எக்ஸாம்பிள்ஸ் இருக்கு. எங்கேயோ ஆரம்பிப்பாங்க. ஐ திங்க் கமல்ஹாசன் இஸ் a வெரி reluctant ஆக்டர். ஆக்டிங்கே இல்லை அவருக்கு, பேஷன் டைரக்ஷன் தான். கேபி, who's K. பாலச்சந்தர், அவருடைய குரு சொல்லி he took up acting. That's why கமல்ஹாசன் still directs. பேஸ் அதுதான். ஸோ இந்த மாதிரி நிறைய பேர் ஆரம்பிக்கிறது ஒரு இடம். அந்த ஜேர்னி அவங்கள ஒரு இடத்துக்கு, லோகேஷ் கனகராஜ் பேங்க்ல வேலை செஞ்சுட்டு இருந்தாரு, பிகாம் நம்ம பேக்ரவுண்ட் தான். அண்ட் தென் கேம் டு ஃபிலிம் டைரக்ஷன்ல. நீங்க ஒரு கான்செப்ட் வைங்க, அந்த கான்செப்டை சேஸ் பண்ணிட்டு போகும்போது ஒரு பியூட்டிஃபுல்லான ஆப்பர்ச்சுனிட்டி தன்னால பிரசன்ட் ஆகும். அதான் பிலீஃப். நம்பிட்டே இருங்க, வரும் வந்துடும்.
Business is all about the money that you can afford to lose.
Right? Investments are, I would say, yeah.
Yeah. After losing for the first time, you have first 3 of your projects were in failure, and after which you shined up. So first time when you lose, you are nothing. And for the second time when you are going to start, you are starting from scratch, nothing, from zero. Even from, might be your family, it was just your mom who, motivated you. But in reality, it is not so. A first failure, if you are out of your own wish, taking it as your profession or passion, you move on. The society don't, support you. They think that you are failed in what you took. Just shut and do what I am saying. It, it dominates you. So how did you overcome that financially, emotionally, everything?
எனக்கு தமிழ் or English? Doesn't matter. I had nobody in my life who had such saying, because nobody has contributed to my life except my mother. My mother was a hardcore anti 9 to 5. She would have hated. ஒரு வாட்டி I came close to applying a job. Came very close after my second startup flunked, right? Job apply பண்ணலான்னு I think அம்மா வந்து ஃபர்ஸ்ட் டைமா லைஃப்ல நான் பிஸ்னஸ்ல சக்ஸஸ்ல காசு இழக்கும் போது கூட அவங்க அவ்வளோ இதுவா என்னை பார்த்ததில்லை. ஜாபுக்கு அப்ளை பண்ண போறேன்னு she started looking at me like a loser. நான் இதை உங்ககிட்ட எதிர்பார்க்கவே இல்லைன்னு சொன்னாங்க. She was the only person who had say in my life. அவங்க சொன்னா மட்டும்தான் நான் அதை கன்சிடர் பண்ணுவேன். ஆனா அவங்க சொன்னாங்க, என்னடா நீயுமாடா, அப்ப யார் தான் ஆண்டர்பிரினர்ஷிப்ல உள்ள வருது, பிசினஸ் பண்றது, நீ இப்படி பண்ணாதான். மை ஃபேமிலி இஸ், நானும் எங்க அம்மா எப்படின்னா சினிமா பஃப். இந்த அண்ணாமலை, படையப்பா இதெல்லாம் பார்த்து கெட்டு போயிட்டுன்னு சொல்ல மாட்டேன், இன்ஸ்பயர் ஆயிருக்கும். அதனால எங்க அம்மா வந்து நீமா வேலைக்கு போற அப்படின்ற மாதிரி ஃபர்ஸ்ட் டைம் இன் மை லைஃப். திஸ் இஸ் டோட்டலி ஆப்போசிட் டு an இந்தியன் பேரண்ட். இந்தியன் பேரண்ட் ஜாபுக்கு அப்ளை பண்ணா அப்செட் ஆவாங்க. எங்க அம்மா அப்ளை பண்ணும்போது அப்செட் ஆனாங்க. Other than my mother, nobody contributed anything in my life. Relatives, நீங்க சொல்றதெல்லாம். My ex-girlfriend had to say she had a lot of contribution in my life. She taught me a lot of things. But she was also very supportive of me. Questionலாம் பண்ணல, சொல்லியிருக்காங்க அப்பப்போ, இதெல்லாம் வேணாமே, why don't you take up a job and all that. I won't listen. But yeah.
First startup was in failure, no, sir. For second time when you're starting, how did you manage financial requirements?
It took me a lot of time. I was working with the economic offense wing in order to file a charge sheet against this person to get him arrested and recover my money through High Court. அதுக்காக ஒரு 4 months I was working alongside with them on that case. நடக்கவே இல்லை. நான் போனேன் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் நாள் நல்லா ஞாபகம் இன்ஸ்பெக்டர் அந்த கிஷோர் அந்த ஃபைல் எடுங்கன்னாரு. எடுத்தேன். என்ன ஃபைல் வருஷம் தெரியுமா அப்படின்னாரு. 98. இன்னும் கேஸ் முடியல. உங்க பேரனுக்கு தான் இந்த காசு கிடைக்கும்னாரு. So I gave up on it, but it took me almost 1.5 years from that point to come to ChairsCarté. நடுவுல பண்ணது தான் அந்த யூடியூப் நடுவுல ஒரு சேனல் லான்ச் பண்ணேன் இல்லையா, அது வந்து என்ன ஏதோ ஒன்று செய்யறோம்னு ஒரு சாட்டிஸ்ஃபேக்ஷன் இருக்கணும்ல, சும்மா இல்லைன்னு சொல்லிட்டு அது ஒரு ட்ரை. So it took me 1.5 years to go through the next thing. So it's not like I fail and immediately start the other. You should be patient. But you know what gave me the license to do it? I was extremely young. 21 வயசு. தோத்தாலும் யாரும் கேட்க, ஜெயிச்சா கை தட்டுவாங்க, எப்படியே காட்டிட்டு போவாங்க. ஸோ தோத்தாலும் doesn't matter. Yeah. What are your dreams like da? Like ஏன்னா நான் 90s kids வந்து எப்படின்னா 1000 பேர்ல வந்து ஒரு 10 பேர் ஆண்டர்பிரனர்ஸ் ஆகணும்னு நினைச்சாங்கன்னா 2Kல வந்து 100 பேர் நினைக்கிறாங்க. அது உண்மையா? அது நான் பார்த்த என் கம்பெனில நிறைய 2K இன்டர்ன்ஸ் இருக்காங்க. ஃப்ரம் உத்தரப்பிரதேஷ், ஃப்ரம் கர்நாடகா, இந்த மாதிரி ஆளுங்க நிறைய பேர் இருக்காங்க. வெரி வெரி பேஷனேட் அபவுட் பிகமிங் an entrepreneur. உங்களுக்கு அப்படி இருக்கு? ஏன்னா 90s வந்து நாங்க ரொம்ப இன்னசென்ட் இந்த மாதிரி விஷயத்துலலாம். மற்ற விஷயத்துல அப்படியே நீங்க மீம்ஸ்லாம் பாத்தீங்கன்னா அப்படியே உத்தமன்கள் மாதிரி போடுவாங்க, எல்லாம் சைலண்டா நடக்கும். உங்க ஸ்மார்ட்னஸ் வந்து ப்ரொஃபஷியன்சில ஒரு ஸ்மார்ட்னஸ் இருக்குல்ல உங்களுக்கு, அது எங்ககிட்ட கிடையாது. இதெல்லாம் வந்து உட்கார இந்த மாதிரிலாம் கேட்கவே மாட்டாங்க பெருசா. பர்சனலி தேர் குட் ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸ். அதனால கேட்கிறேன், ஹவ் யுவர் ட்ரீம்ஸ் ஆர் லைக் யூடியூபர், சினிமா, ஆண்டர்பிரனர் இந்த மாதிரி சேஸ் பண்றீங்களா, ஆர் இஸ் இட் லைக் கார்ப்பரேட், கெட்டிங் அ ஜாப், சேஃப் அண்ட் செக்யூர் அந்த மாதிரி போயிட்டு இருக்கா மைண்ட் செட்? யார் வேணா சொல்லலாம், நீ சொல்லிடு.
இப்போ ஸ்டார்ட் அப்ஸ்க்கான ஐடியாஸ் இருக்குன்னு வச்சுக்கோங்களேன். இப்போ எனக்குமே இருக்குன்னு வச்சுக்கோங்க. I have the idea, but I don't know where to start and how to start. எனக்கு அந்த இனிஷியல் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ஸ்டெப் சொல்லுவாங்க பார்த்தீங்களா, அதுதான் ரொம்ப கஷ்டம். அண்ட் அதர் தென் தட் எவ்ரி திங் இஸ் ஈஸின்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. அது உண்மையோ போயோ, பட் அந்த ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ஸ்டெப் எங்கே எடுத்து வைக்கிறது, எப்படி ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணுறதுனே ஒரு ஐடியா இல்லை. லைக் அந்த கிளாரிட்டி இல்லை. பீங் இட் லைக் ஏஜ்னால கூட இருக்கலாம், இல்லை எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ் இல்லாததுனால இருக்கலாம். ஸோ நீங்கள் எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ்டுன்றதுனால நான் ஒரு கேள்வி கேட்குறேன், எப்படி ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணணும்? ஐடியா இருக்கு, பட் என்ன பண்ணணும் ஃபர்ஸ்ட்? அதுதான்
அந்த செகண்ட் பாயிண்ட். கியூரியாசிட்டி இருந்தால் தான் கிளாரிட்டி வரும். கியூரியாசிட்டி இருந்தால் தான் நீங்கள் ஆன்சர்ஸ் தேடுவீங்க. அண்ட் தென் கம்ஸ் எக்ஸ்பெரிமெண்டேஷன். எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ் இல்லைன்னு சொன்னீங்கல்ல, எக்ஸ்பெரிமெண்டேஷன் பண்ணாதானே எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ் வரும். சரி, உங்ககிட்ட நான் இப்போ கேட்குறேன் ஓப்பனா, என்ன ஐடியா வச்சிருக்கீங்கன்னா கேன் யூ டெல் இட் அவுட் கான்ஃபிடென்ட்லி ஸோ தட் ஐ கேன் ஹெல்ப் யூ ஹவெவர் ஐ கேன். ஒரு ஐடியா
இண்டஸ்ட்ரியில இருக்கு.
என்ன சர்வீஸ்?
ஃபுட் ரெஸ்டாரண்ட் ஓபன் பண்றதோ இல்ல கஃபே ஓபன் பண்றதோ
அந்த மாதிரி இருக்கா?
ஐடியா இருக்கு.
ஸ்டடி என்ன இப்போ ரெஸ்டாரண்ட்னாலே லொகாலிட்டி தான் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் விஷயம். ஓகே, லொகாலிட்டியை நீங்க ஃபிகர் அவுட் பண்ணணும். தீம் பேஸ்ட் ரெஸ்டாரண்ட்ஸ்லாம் வந்துருச்சு. இப்போ நீங்க ஒரே ஒரு ரெஸ்டாரண்ட்டை பார்த்து அப்படியே காப்பி பண்ணி தீம்ல இருந்து கஸ்டமைசேஷன்ல இருந்து பண்ணி ஓபன் பண்ணுவாங்க. பட் 3 monthsல அது ஷட் டவுன் ஆயிடும். நீங்க அந்த ஏரியாக்கு திரும்பி போகும்போது ரெஸ்டாரண்ட் அங்க இருக்கவே இருக்காது. நிறைய இந்த மாதிரி நம்ம நோட் பண்ணலாம். ஸோ எந்த மாதிரி ரெஸ்டாரண்ட், என்ன தீம், என்ன லொகாலிட்டின்றதை நீங்க ஒர்க் அவுட் பண்ணணும். அண்ட் ஒரு ரெஸ்டாரண்ட் ஓனர் கிட்ட பேசுறதுக்கு வாய்ப்பு கிடைச்சதுனால் போய் பேசணும். ரெஸ்டாரண்ட்டை விட டீ கடை, இந்த சிக்கன் பக்கோடா, மஷ்ரூம், ஷவர்மா இது வந்து ப்ராஃபிட்டபிள். அவரு நீங்க பக்கோடா போடுற பாத்தீங்கன்னா உங்க கட்டில இருப்பாரு, நாம கணக்கு போட்டுருவோம். இல்லங்க நீங்க நான் சொல்றேன், நீங்க போய் நின்னு பாருங்க, 10 நிமிஷத்துல 4000 ரூபாய் 7 ரூபாய் பிசினஸ் பண்ணுவாங்க. ஒருத்தர் 500 கொடுப்பாரு, ஒருத்தர் 300 கொடுப்பாரு. நிறைய பக்கோடா கடை இருக்கு. எப்பயாச்சும் போறோம் கிட்ட ஒன்று இருக்கு, இட்ஸ் வெரி குட் ரிலையன்ஸ் மார்க்கெட் பண்ணுவாங்க. ஸோ ரெஸ்டாரண்ட் ஓனரா பாருங்க, ரெஸ்டாரண்ட் ரெண்டே அண்ணா நகர் கீழ்பாக்கனா ரெண்டே 2 லட்சம் வரும், 1.5 லட்சம் வரும். எல்லாம் சேலரி பார்த்தீங்கன்னா நார்த் ஈஸ்ட்ல இருந்து வருவாங்க. தமிழே அது ஏன் அப்படி பண்றாங்கன்னு தெரியல, பட் எனிவே சீப் லேபர் மேபி தட் குட் பி தி ரீசன். அவங்களுக்கு சம்பளம், எலக்ட்ரிசிட்டி பில் கட்டணும், சாப்பாடு இன்கிரீடியன்ஸ் கெட்டு போற பொருள் வேற கெட்டுடும். நீங்க தக்காளி வாட் எவர் எல்லாம் வாங்கி வச்சுட்டு சமைச்சு ஆர்டர் வந்து சாப்பிடலன்னா இட் வில் கெட் ஸ்பாயில்ட் இல்லையா? இவ்வளோ இருக்கு. பட் சின்னதா டீ கடையிலையோ பால் இதெல்லாம் தான். சிக்கன் பக்கோடா பாருங்க, என்ன பெரிய இன்வெஸ்ட்மெண்ட் இருக்கு. இவங்களை விட அவங்க ப்ராஃபிட்டபிள். நீங்க 10 லட்சம் ரூபாய் போட்டு 1 லட்ச ரூபாய் சம்பாதிக்கிறத விட 1 லட்சம் போட்டு 3 லட்சம் சம்பாதிச்சா ரேஷியோ பாருங்க. இவர் ட்ரிபிளா எடுக்கிறாரு, அவர் 10% தான் சம்பாதிக்கிறார். சினிமா மாதிரி தான். 500 crores நீங்க ஃபிலிம் பண்ணிட்டு 50 crores 10% மார்ஜின். இப்ப காந்தாரான ஒரு ஃபிலிம் வந்ததுல ரொம்ப கம்மியான பட்ஜெட், பல கோடி ரேஷியோ, பிஸ்னஸ் ரேஷியோ. ஸோ எப்படி நீங்கள் ப்ராஃபிட்டபிளாக இருக்க போறீங்கன்றதை நீங்கள் ஃபிகர் அவுட் பண்ணணும். இது நான் ஏன் சஜஷன், ரெஸ்டாரண்ட்டை விட சின்னதாக ஆரம்பிக்கிறது வில் பி பெட்டர் ஃபார் யூ பிஸ்னஸ் வைஸ்.
ஓகே, அதே மாதிரி இப்போ லைக் நம்ம நம்மளோட ஓன் தீம், நம்மளோட இன்னோவேஷன்னால ஆரம்பிக்கிறது பெட்டரா, இல்லை இந்த மாதிரி ஃப்ரான்ச்சைஸ் எடுக்கிறது அது பெட்டரா அப்படின்னு?
இனிஷியல் ஸ்டேஜஸ்ல ஃப்ரான்ச்சைஸ் ரொம்ப பணம் வேணும். கேஎஃப்சி, மெக்டானல்ட்ஸ்லாம் இருக்குன்னா க்ரோர்ஸ் கணக்கில் தான். அந்த பேனர்ல இருந்து எல்லாம் அவங்க கொடுத்துருவாங்க, மிஷின்ஸ் எல்லாமே அவங்க கொடுத்துருவாங்க.
We should also pay the royalty.
That is also there. ரொம்ப பணம் வேணும். அது if you can afford it, that you have to come from a big background. இனிஷியலா பண்ண முடியாது. 1.5 கோடி நீங்க இன்வெஸ்ட் பண்ண முடியாது எடுத்த உடனே. பெரிய இடத்துல இருந்து வந்தா you can easily do it. So franchise விட உங்களோட ஐடியாலஜி வச்சு நீங்க போறது தான் பெஸ்ட். அண்ட் மோஸ்ட் ஃபெயில்டு பிசினஸ் ஐடியா என்னன்னா இந்த ரெஸ்டாரண்ட் தான். ஏன்னா இட்ஸ் ஈஸி டு பி டன். இல்ல சிரிக்காதீங்க, அது ரொம்ப உண்மை.
I can shine, sir. I can do it.
And I want you to. நான் சக்சஸ் ஆகி காட்டுறேன் அப்படின்னு வந்து உங்க சக்சஸ் ஸ்டோரி நீங்க 5 years சொல்லணும். That is what I want for you. But I am warning you. Out of my experience, I am warning you. Be careful.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
A last question. Something not relevant to whatever we talk, na? It's not like that. About your personal. What about your ex-girlfriend? We are very curious to hear about that.
இவங்க தான் எதிரியே எனக்கு. See, நான் எப்படின்னா இவங்களை பத்தி சொல்றேனே, இல்ல சில்ல கதை. என் மேல இருக்க கோவத்தை எல்லாம் அவங்க மேல காட்டுவாங்க. செம்ம டென்ஷன் ஆகும் எனக்கு. எனக்கு வந்து ஏன்னா நான் ஹெச்ஓடி டீனுக்கு ரொம்ப செல்ல பையன், ரொம்ப க்ளோஸ். இந்த ஷோஸ்லாம் ஆங்கர் பண்ணா நல்லா தெரியும். ஏதாவது பிரச்சனை அங்கே போயிடுவேன். வி ஹேட் அ வெரி ஸ்ட்ரெயின் ரிலேஷன்ஷிப். பட் ஆனால் ஒரு 4.5 years கழிச்சு அவங்க எனக்கு கால் பண்ணாலே, அம்மா ஹெச்ஓடி வாண்ட்ஸ் டு மீட் யுவர் பேரண்ட்ஸ்மா அப்படி சொல்லியிருக்க மாட்டார். அப்படி அவங்க அதான் கால் பண்ணி சொல்லுவாங்க. பட் ரொம்ப வருஷம் கழிச்சு பேசும்போது ஐ வாஸ் வெரி ஹாப்பி. பட் ஒரு ஸ்ட்ரெயின் ரிலேஷன்ஷிப் எங்களுக்குள்ள இருந்தாலும் ஒரு 4.5 years கழிச்சு அவங்க எனக்கு கால் பண்ணி பேசும்போது ரொம்ப சந்தோஷமா இருந்தது. தட் இஸ் த டெவலப்மெண்ட் வி ஹேட். அப்படியே கொஸ்டின் ஆன்சர் பண்ணாமல் நழுவுறாங்கன்னு நினைக்கிறீங்க? சொல்றேன். கியூரியாசிட்டி அண்ட் சாக்ரிஃபைஸ் பார்ட் இப்போ 3வது சொன்னல, அதான் சாக்ரிஃபைஸ். நோ, ஐ டெல் யூ வாட். India, give employment here. This is see, if you ask me what is rate of growth, no, like I want blunt economics is just, it is the amount of income you make from the household savings, the corporate savings, government savings, all of it put together, added plus the income from abroad, divided by gross domestic product. This is the rate of growth. But if you ask me, the true rate of growth is not more labor, more capital. It's truly the entrepreneurs. More young people should take up entrepreneurship. I want to revolutionize this idea. எனக்கு இந்தியா இங்கே தான் வேலை கொடுக்கணும், இங்கே தான் வேலை செய்யணும், என் கண்ட்ரிக்கு தான் நான் வந்து டாக்ஸ் பே பண்ணணுன்றது என் ஐடியா. ஸோ போலாரிட்டி டிஃப்ரென்ஸ். ஸோ அதனால she pursued what I want. Also I can't leave a lot of things, right? That is the difference. So that's the thing. one relationship advice என்னன்னா, you can be extremely good for each other, perfect match ஆ இருக்கலாம். But if you don't want the same things in life, work கோட்டே ஆகாது. நீங்க அதே நேரத்தில் அடிச்சுட்டு முட்டி பிடிச்சிட்டு அடிச்சுக்கலாம். பட் இஃப் யூ வாண்ட் த சேம் திங்ஸ் இன் லைஃப், யூ வில் ஒர்க் டுகெதர். யுவர் கோல்ஸ் ஷுட் பி சேம். இப்போ நானும் அவரும் பிஸ்னஸ் ஸ்டார்ட் பண்றோம்னா எங்களுக்குள்ள எப்படி சண்டை வரும்? ஏன்னா எங்க ஐடியாலஜியே ப்ராஃபிட் தான், சம்பாதிக்கணும் தானே ஸ்டார்ட் பண்றோம். அப்போ எப்படி அடிச்சுப்போம்? அடிச்சுக்கிட்டாலும் திருப்பி பேசி தான் ஆகணும். தட்ஸ் அவர் ரிலேஷன்ஷிப்ஸ் ஆர். இஃப் யூ டோன்ட் வாண்ட் த சேம் திங்ஸ், நோ மேட்டர் ஹவு மச் யூ ஆர் இன் லவ் வித் ஈச் அதர், இட் வொன்ட் ஒர்க் அவுட். நடக்காது. அது பார்ட் ஆஃப் சாக்ரிஃபைஸ் தான். அவங்களுக்கும் சாக்ரிஃபைஸ் தானே, அது பண்ணிதான் ஆகணும், வேற வழி இல்லை.
Hope she sees this.
Sorry?
Hope she sees this.
எடிட்டிங்ல கட் பண்ணிடுவா.
Yeah, thank you.
யா, யூடியூப் சேனல் காட்டுறீங்களா? ஓ, இந்த செல்ஃப் பிலீஃப்னு ஒன்று சொன்னேன்ல, நான் இப்போ இங்கே வரும்போது என் யூடியூப் சேனலில் இவங்க காட்டுறதுக்கு இது வந்து போனஸ் எனக்கு. நான் அவங்கள பண்ண சொல்லலை, பட் இது தெரிய வருது இல்லையா, இது ஒரு ஆடட் அட்வான்டேஜ். ஸோ திஸ் இஸ் ஹவ் இட் ஹேப்பன்ஸ். யாரும் நீங்கள் கேட்டிங்கன்னு நினைக்கிறேன். அது எப்படி நான் சொன்னல, ஒன்று நீங்கள் ட்ரை பண்ணிட்டே இருக்கும்போது புதுசாக ஒரு ஆப்பர்ச்சுனிட்டி எங்கேருந்து வருதுன்னே தெரியாது. இதான் அந்த ஆப்பர்ச்சுனிட்டி. இதுதான் சொன்னேன், லைவாக நடக்குதுங்க. இல்லை வாரிசு படம் ரிவ்யூ பண்ண வாட் ஐ லேர்ன் ஃப்ரம் வாரிசுன்னு சொல்லி கம்ப்ளீட்லி டிஃப்ரெண்டாக இருக்கும். படம் பற்றிலாம் இருக்காது.
ப்ளே பண்ணலாமா சார்?
ப்ரோ சினிமா பத்தியே இருக்காது அது.
ரெடியாக வச்சுக்கோங்க. நம்மளுக்கு சப்போர்ட் பண்ண இந்த நம்ம சப்போர்ட் பண்ணல.
ஷேர்னு சொல்லாரா பூமர் நினைச்சிட்டு போறாங்க.
One thing that is நான் SRMல 2015ல when I have joined, ஓகேவா, என்னோட ஃபர்ஸ்ட் பேட்ச் ஸ்டூடெண்ட் அப்படின்னு சொல்லும் போது ஐ எம் வெரி ஹாப்பி. அட் த சேம் டைம் எனக்கு வந்து கிஷோர் கிட்ட இவ்வளோ டேலண்ட் இருக்குங்கிறது எனக்கு தெரியாது, சத்தியமாக எனக்கு தெரியாது. ஓகேவா, ஸோ வாட் ஹீ வில் டூ அப்படின்னு பார்த்தோன்னா, ஹி வில் கம் டு த காலேஜ், ஓகேவா, கிளாஸ்க்கு வருவான், பட் லேட்டாக தான் வருவான். ஓகே, ஒன் திங், ஒரு ஷோல்டர் பேக் மாட்டியிருப்பான், கரெக்டா, ஷோல்டர் பேக் மாட்டியிருப்பான்,
ஸ்லிங் பேக் மாதிரி இருக்கும்.
ஸ்லிங் பேக் வச்சிருப்பேன், அப்புறம் ஒரு ஷோல்டர் பேக்கும் வச்சிருப்பேன், அதை தான் மாட்டிட்டு வருவேன். லாஸ்ட் பெஞ்சில் இந்த சைடு கார்னரில் தான் உட்காருவான். தட் இஸ் அங்கே எப்படி இருக்கும்னா 3 டிவிஷன்ஸ் இருக்கும், 3 to 2 டிவிஷன்ஸ் தான் இருக்கும். அதில் இந்த கார்னரில் தான் அவன் உட்காந்துருப்பான். அவனோட ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸ்ன்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா ஒரு 4 பேர் 5 பேர் இருப்பானுங்க அவனுங்களோட. ஸோ அவனோட மெயின் ஒர்க் என்னன்னா, he will be coming to the class, ஓகேவா, கிளாஸை லிசன் பண்ணுவான். அட் த சேம் டைம் அவனுக்கு நடுவில் ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸோட பேசணும் அப்படிங்கிறத தாண்டி சாப்பிடணும். ஆல்வேஸ் he will carry a tiffin box. அதில் இது சம்திங் ஃபுட்ஸ் வச்சு சாப்பிடுவான், தண்ணி குடிப்பான், சம் ஹெல்த் ட்ரிங்க் வச்சுருப்பான், அதையும் எடுத்துப்பான். ஓகேவா, இதுதான் அவனோட மெயின். இதோ நான் நிறைய தடவை அவனை நோட்டீஸ் பண்ணியிருக்கேன். அவன் சாப்பிடும் போது தான் நான் இரிட்டேட்டே ஆவேன். அவன் ஆனால் இன்னொரு ரீசன் சொன்னான், நான் அந்த என்னோட செஷன் நான் தான் மிஸ். ஃபர்ஸ்ட் இயர் நான் ரொம்ப ஸ்ட்ரிக்டாக தான் இருந்தேன். ஏன்னா எனக்கு சொன்னது அப்படிதான், படிக்காதரான்னு சொல்லி அனுப்புவாங்களா சேரும் போது, அதே மாதிரி அப்போ படிச்ச 2014 பேட்ச் 2015 பேட்ச் வாஸ் வெரி ஸ்ட்ரிக்ட். ஓகேவா, அதுக்கப்புறம் ஓகே, ஏன்னா எனக்கும் எப்படி மிங்கிள் ஆகணும், எனக்கும் கற்றுக்கணும்ல. ஸோ அதுக்கப்புறம் உங்கள் ட்ராக்குக்கு நான் வரணும். ஸோ நான் உங்கள் ட்ராக்கு கொஞ்சம் கொஞ்சமாக வர ஆரம்பித்தேன். சில பேர் இப்பயும் சில பேர்கிட்ட நான் ஒத்துக்கிறேன், சில பேர்கிட்ட ஐ வில் பி. ஏன்னா நீ வந்துட்டு அதுக்கேற்ற மாதிரி நடந்துக்கிற. நம்ம சிரிக்கிறதெல்லாம் நம்பாதீங்க, கேட்காதீங்க. நான் ரொம்ப ஹாப்பியாக இருக்கு, பிகாஸ் நான் இருக்கும் போது ஒரு என்னோட ஸ்டூடெண்ட் திருப்பி இங்கே வந்திருக்காங்க. நான் இதுக்கு முன்னாடி கூட்டிகிட்டு வந்த அந்த 3 பேருமே சரி, ஐ எம் வெரி ப்ரௌட். அதே மாதிரி கிஷோரையும் சரி, ஐ எம் வெரி ப்ரௌட். ஓகேவா, ஆஸ் அ ஸ்டூடெண்ட்டாக ஒரு இருந்து, ஆஸ் அ அலுமினியா, ஆஸ் அ ஸ்பீக்கராக இங்கே உள்ள இன்வைட் பண்ணும்போது ஐ எம் வெரி ஹாப்பி. ஓகே, அதே மாதிரி உங்ககிட்டயே நான் அந்த எதிர்பார்க்குறேன். உங்ககிட்ட இருக்கிற டேலண்ட்டை வெளியே கொண்டு வாங்க. ஓகே, ஸோ இன் கேஸ் ஆஃப் எனி டவுட்ஸ் அப்படின்னும் போது அவங்களே சொன்னாங்களா இந்த யூடியூப் சேனல்ஸ்லாம் இருக்குட்டு, ஸோ அதில் கூட நீங்கள் கேட்கலாம். ஓகேவா, ஸோ ஹி வில் பண்ணுவல்ல.
Yeah, definitely. My Instagram handle is of the same name. If you have any specific problem or anything that is bothering you, உங்களுக்கு சில பேருக்கு அந்த எந்திரிச்சு கேட்கறது கொஞ்சம் ஷையாக இருக்கும், டெக்ஸ்ட்டில் கொஞ்சம் இதுவாக ஃப்ரீயாக பேசுவீங்க. அந்த மாதிரி இருந்துச்சுன்னா சென்ட் மீ அ மெசேஜ். உடனே ரிப்ளை பண்ண முடியலனாலும் ஐ டெஃபினெட்லி ரிப்ளை. நான் எவ்வளோ சீக்கிரம் முடியுமோ பண்ணுறேன், இல்லை ஐ மேக் அ வீடியோ ஆன் இட் அண்ட் ஐ சென்ட் இட் டு யூ. ஸோ ஐ எம் ஆல்வேஸ் அப்ரோச்சபிள். எதை பற்றி பேசணுன்னாலும் யூ கேஸ் கேன் டிஎம் மீ.
Honorable HOD ma'am, honorable teachers, and my dear friends, I thank you all for gathering at this alumni meet. I would like to thank our senior and brother alumni, Mr. S. Kishore of batch 2015 to 18, who has honored this session with his inspirational thoughts and his valuable experience of his college life. I would like to thank all the people who worked behind this event. I thank Akash and Sri Lakshna for being a figure for Royal INDE Senate. I thank all our reps and coordinators. Thank you all.